Good afternoon. I'm Randy Horton from Orthogonal. We are coming to you from the Boston Convention Center for the LSX World Congress. You can't make every conference out there. You can't even make a fraction of them because there's so many. And even if you do make it to a conference, it's pretty hard to connect with all the people who have interesting stories to tell and interesting insights to share. So what we're trying to do here is curate a set of interviews with some of the most interesting people speaking at conferences to bring to you at your, I'd say your office, but I guess it's really your home office these days. So we are here today with Sarah Fox from Angelini Ventures, which is, you have a fascinating job because you are an American venture capitalist working for an Italian-based venture capital fund.
Yes.
All right, I don't know how you swung that, but great work. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about Angelini Ventures?
Yeah, sure. No, very lucky to be part of Angelini now. Angelini Ventures is part of Angelini Industries, the venture arm of Angelini Industries that is headquartered in Rome, diversified business lines, doing a lot in pharma and CNS-related conditions. But Angelini Ventures is a healthcare fund with a biotech presence and a health tech presence. So I sit on our health tech team, investing across medical devices, tech-enabled services, and software companies. We are really excited about the future of healthcare and very grateful that the Angelini Industries team and family has set aside a pool of capital for us to invest in the future of healthcare.
Very cool. And what's the investment thesis or perspective of Angelini Ventures?
Yeah, so at least on the health tech team, we're super interested in companies that can have direct patient outcome impact. So things that are a therapeutic medical device that can actually improve patient outcomes in an OR or an outpatient setting. Tech-enabled services that where you can treat a patient in a different facility or in the home. So pretty diverse mandate. Really like to see patient outcomes and actually improving healthcare for the patient population across therapeutic areas and specialties.
Got it. Very cool. And so what would be an example of a portfolio company I think would be illustrative of the fund?
Yeah, many portfolio companies to choose from, but one company that was actually here at this conference as well is called NoTric Health. They developed a device, a wearable device for neurostimulation treating RLS, so restless leg syndrome. About 10% of the patient population actually has RLS. It goes undertreated because there aren't any really great mechanisms to treat this patient population. Impressive company that has really great clinical data and now is in commercialization, getting positive payer coverage from a bunch of payers out there.
Great. We interviewed them yesterday, so we'll have to include a link from one interview to the other and back. So we're going full circle. Excellent. And tell us about yourself and how you got into this world.
Yeah, I grew up in the healthcare world with a family of physicians and administrators. Always thought that I was going to become a physician myself because that's all I knew in healthcare, but quickly realized early on that was not the path for me and got really excited more about the tech and innovation happening in healthcare. So I joined a early stage digital health company based in New York, working with healthcare data. So did a lot of interoperability work, was around the 10th employee there doing strategy and operations for them. Was an awesome experience building a new market category, getting new customers excited about healthcare data in general. Doing that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then moved over to the venture world. So I was at a fund based in New York doing health tech investing as well for about 3.5 years before I moved to Angelini.
Got it. Very good. Okay, I think what we'd like to talk to you about is, as an investor, how do you look at MedTech and health tech and what moves the needle for you in terms of interest or I guess interest would be the main thing for funds, particularly in terms of how companies are approaching integrating digital. So software as a medical device, AI, ML, those kinds of things into it, because everything's an AI play these days, right? I swear McDonald's probably says they're an AI company these days. But so what stands out for you when you get a pitch from a new company? What are you looking for as the top checkoff points for that kind of stuff? Or do you even care? Do you look at non-digital companies?
We do look at non-digital companies, but I think increasingly so there is a digital component to it. Whether there is an AI algorithm in how they diagnose or in how they find a tumor and ablate that. More and more there is this digital AI component to it. And I think what's interesting is that we are in an inflection point where they really are converging now, where it's not just traditional med tech, where it's a quote unquote dumb device. So you can really power new technology and new therapies with the digital component. There are a couple of many different frameworks on how to think about investing, but at least on the digital side, when you think about adding another layer of the data part of it, you really need to dig into, okay, how did the company get access to this data to train the models? Is it representative of the patient population? thinking more about the actual data acquisition. Did they think about the whole landscape from imaging to pathology to the actual medical record? So there's a lot of different, there's so much data out there, and it's what do you do with that data to empower results without boiling the ocean, of course. But yeah, so we do take that into consideration more and more. And I think now more than ever, it's a question of how is that reimbursable? So
Okay.
thinking about the more of the economics part of it and how software as a medical device fits into these reimbursement frameworks
Okay.
these days.
So do you understand the data landscape? Do you have a good strategy for finding a niche in that? And can somebody pay you for it?
Yes. And I'll also add a couple more things around safety. Obviously, you need to have a secure medical device when you're dealing with a lot of this data. So good safety frameworks and interoperability. Can you move this data? I mean, my past life as an operator was all around healthcare data interoperability. So how interoperable is this data from one mechanism to another? And is it easy movable?
Got it. Okay. And how do you assess whether you could be sophisticated strategically with data, but maybe not technically with data? How do you assess that piece? Do they know how to run good engineering? Do they have good data science? And I think perhaps most importantly in the industry, do they know how to connect that to the quality and regulatory piece in our industry?
Yeah, it's learning over time. It's engaging with KOLs in your network who are maybe way smarter than yourself and how to evaluate these companies. We rely heavily on our advisors and our operating partners as well, and how can we evaluate the different facets of a business.
Okay. So you pull in experts too. You can't.
Yeah, we can't do it all.
Okay. And what are you seeing as successful strategies companies are using for marrying patient outcomes with medical device and data and regulatory? Are there any patterns you're seeing that are interesting right now?
Yeah, I don't know if they're patterns necessarily, but it's a lot of planning before you actually think you have to be ready for it. So it's setting up the infrastructure. So for example, in the reimbursement landscape, a lot of companies fall into the trap of only figuring out reimbursement or patient access once they get approval for a medical device, but then it might be too late. So it's really hiring the right people before you think you might need to hire them, or having smart people and consultants around the table to think about a data strategy more so than not. I think we're seeing a lot more data people being pulled into these companies earlier.
Sure.
So I think it's a great strategy. And yeah, setting up the infrastructure, making sure you talk to the right people, talk to FDA, talk to CMS before you think you have to make sure that your plan is in check.
What are you seeing in terms of how firms are approaching user experience, service design, kind of integration of workflows?
Yeah.
Competing with Fruit Ninja as much as you're competing with Roche? Like, where does that figure into what you see?
Yeah, I mean, it plays a significant role. I think that there are two main facets to whether a technology really gets adopted. One is the economics have to make sense. The money, unfortunately, you still have to follow the money, and it has to make sense for all stakeholders. And the second, is it usable? Is a product just slightly better than the standard of care today? If it is, then it might not be a great investment for us. If it's 10x better than what you're seeing because of a UI change, because it takes 1 click instead of 10 clicks for a physician, that actually compounds to meaningful change within an industry. It could be as small as that example where instead of doing 1 click to another click to another click within a system, you actually just click once, and then a physician will actually like that and want to adopt that technology.
Are you seeing, we've certainly been seeing a change in, I think, sophistication of the users from a focus on human factors only, which is, can somebody successfully use the device? To user experience, which in my mind is, will they choose to use the device, and will they use it in a way that gets the maximum value out of it? Are you seeing that with founders, that kind of perspective?
Yeah, I am. And I'm seeing different ways of going about UX. So it could be a physician actually going in to do something, or it could just be mirroring their movements on a day-to-day basis. So in a surgical robotic company, for example, and with data and AI integrated into it, you could mirror the actual movements of a surgeon. So from an ergonomic perspective, it makes much more sense for them, instead of being hunched over in a patient body, just like mirror what they are naturally used to. Beyond just like a technology interface on a computer, I think there are interesting ways to adopt UX, UI in a meaningful way with the data strategy as well.
True. And when somebody's pitching with you, say they get 5 minutes with you in the hallway here at LSX, what's going to work? What's going to get them in the next meeting?
Yeah, we always look at, is it a large market size? Is it a great opportunity to invest now? Is it a growing market? America and the whole world, it's unfortunately getting sicker. So there are a lot of areas to be investing in right now. And then from the tech perspective, are they approaching it in a different and novel way than what I've seen? You could hear so many pitches from time to time that are just rinse and repeat of the same old technology. But are you looking about it in a different way? Are you approaching the challenge from a unique technology modality perspective? Yeah, I think that all plays a role in what we find exciting if it's at the right stage for us.
Very good. Very good. Thanks so much for coming in. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And have a good conference.
Thank you. You too.